Hey everyone, it looks like we are live. We made it to yet another Wednesday. Welcome to the first live stream of December of 2023. It is also the first live stream at a new location, and so I'm very happy about that. And we have nice lighting. I don't even need the studio lights. So they're right overhead, these lights, which are really great. Mr. Roy, how are you? All the way from New Jersey. Good to see you, sir. How's everything going? So that's fantastic. We have Roy in the house, and it's getting cold out. I think it was even snow flurries today. Mr. JC, all the way from Georgia. Great to see you. How are you today, sir? Always a pleasure to see you, JC. So that is great. So we have Roy and JC in the house. So being the first live stream in the new place, it's going to be interesting because I'm still finding my paints. So we might go a little slower than normally, but that's okay, I hope. So what I want to do is I want to kind of define her hair a little bit more, go into some darks, but I don't want overspray. So I'm kind of worried about the overspray. And let's see, I am going to get out some really nice dark colors. But again, it's like it's going to take me a little while to get reacclimated, especially with the water and cleaning out the airbrushes in between colors. But I think we're going to do okay. Hey, old friend, Mr. John Payne, how are you? It's great to see you, my friend. All the way from upstate New York. How you been? And JC says, wow, it's going to feel weird and for me being in a new place, right? Because there's never been a live stream where I wasn't in Little Fairy. So this is the first one. So it is going to be an adjustment for us, but it's a very comfortable environment. I love it. I am very excited. And it's a new chapter, and that makes me very, very happy. So let's see, what are we going to do now? Okay, so we want to mix a dark, so I'm looking at the reference photo. And I just don't want to go with black. I think that's the easy way out. So what I'm going to do is I am going to look for something like black magenta. I like black magenta. It's one of my favorite colors. And of course it's by Wicked, which is manufactured by the great paint company Createx. And we're just going to put, maybe half of a coating in a 1 ounce bottle, 1 ounce cup. And it has sort of a brownish tinge. So I'm probably going to use something like Detail Burnt Umber is nice. I think those two colors will go together. Mr. Brad, all the way from Manitoba, great to see you, sir. How you been? So, yeah, so Brad, this is the new digs, and I'm so excited, and I'm looking forward to many live streams here. So I'm mixing a little bit of the Detail Burnt Umber, Detail Burnt Sienna, and the Black Magenta. And then I'm going to 4011 it. Mr. Michael, all the way from the Baltimore, Maryland area. Great to see you, sir. I'm so glad you're here. Patty, how are you from Illinois? So glad you're here, Patty. How are you today? So what a great group of people already. I'm so excited. So I'm going to use my normal plastic palette knife. And we're going to mix that. And I did 4011 it. And we're going to see if that's dark enough. If not, we can add just a little bit more of the black magenta and see if that does the trick. Now I'm going to take my time mixing. Let's see. This might be well if I go ahead and do this. And okay. So if I add a certain amount of the black magenta, I want to go ahead and add the same amount of 4011. And let's see. Let's see how this goes. I may do a touch of the black if I want it super dark. But that black magenta is giving me a really nice dark. And also, what it's doing, it's giving me a colorful dark, right? Not just black. Because black is really just a really dark blue. And I want more color in my darks. So we'll see how this goes. It's a little more 4011. And where is my 4050? Here we go. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of the 4050. It makes it flow better through the airbrush. But I'm going to make sure I mix that for at least 45 seconds. Really get that a chance to kind of all come together. And if you notice, you see how it drips, but it doesn't have a string. So you see how it drips, but it's not stringy? That means it's a really good consistency. And this is coming from the great minds at Createx. I watched one of their videos not too long ago, and that's what they said and they recommend. Okay, now we are going to pour a little bit in here, not too much. So I'm learning that you don't put too much in. You know, you can always put more in, but don't put too much in. Let me see, my airbrush is working properly. Okay. And of course we want to get our magnets down close to the edge. And what I want to do is really intensify those darks. Let's see how this goes. We got to make sure that we have those magnets close to the edge because it will want to billow underneath. Maybe I could get one of the lower profile magnets, right guys? Now what's it going to do is going to give me a little more structure with her and just really kind of darken and sharpening things up. This is going to be the last episode for this particular painting. Definitely. I know I said the other one was, but with the move and everything, things were a little bit up in the air, but this is definitely the final episode of this painting. I may finish it a little bit later. Hey, honey, how are you? Great to see you. I just seen you. How's everything? I'm so glad you're here. How's work going and everything like that? I'm loving the artwork that you're doing. And I'm not just painting, but I'm really paying attention to what's happening with the reference. That 1 second rule is really great. You know, you look for a second and you paint for a second. Oh, Mr. Payne says she looks amazing. I appreciate that so very much. Thank you. That's always so encouraging. You guys always encourage me, so I appreciate that more than you know. It's slow going, but I'm taking my time. So when I was working last week on her dress, we had a little bit of overspray, and I kind of went into the darks of her hair, and we kind of lost some of the conviction of our value. So, and remember, black magenta, detail black magenta, with detailed burnt umber, detailed burnt sienna, and 4011 with just a touch of the 4050 to improve the flow. I'm about 4 inches away, if that helps. Patty says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks, Patty. I appreciate that so much. Now, I'm not going to do like the contours because the contours change. So I'm going to respect the contours that I do have. I don't have my freehand shield with me, so I'm just going to use my finger. I know, I shouldn't use my finger. You know I barely do that. Rarely ever use my finger. I'm an artist that doesn't like getting his hands dirty. Wow, Brad, thank you so much for this super chat. $20. That is so great. I really appreciate all of your wonderful support and friendship, and that is like amazing, especially being understanding during the move. I was then able to make the class that we have together. So I was moving a whole house by myself. It was not the house itself, but all the stuff that accumulated into it for 16 years. Thank you so much, Brad. I appreciate you. And let's see, we have Total Pain says, almost forgot. And let's see, Mr. Steve Leahy says, evening, everyone. Great to see you, Mr. Leahy. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate you. Sorry I missed all your live streams and your videos. I was too busy lifting copious amounts of heavy boxes. So I should be back to normal and catch up on all your amazing live streams, Steve. And so that's really cool. Yeah, it was amazing how busy I was. I didn't do any painting for 5 days. I think the last time I didn't do paintings for 5 days was probably in 2011? No, I would say probably in 2001 was the last time that I went more than 5 days, up to 5 days without painting. So Honey says, evening. Oh, it's great to see you, Honey. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Did you do your Christmas shopping yet? Well, I think Christmas shopping today is probably like Amazon, like I do. So it's funny how Christmas shopping is so much different today than it was in the 80s. And I don't want to spend too much time on the hair, but I'll hold this down. And so now that I did the darks, I think I could probably come in painting without the hair stencil. Let's see. Brad says, buy art from your local artist for Christmas gifts. That's so cool. Mr. Mike says, are you feeling relieved at... Oh, yeah, so much. It was such an anxiety-ridden experience for me. I'm a person who doesn't like moving. And I had to leave some really good stuff behind. And I just look at it like starting over, Mike, you know? And so I just say, you know, I had to leave some acetate sheets behind, and I had to leave some wooden panels behind. So it was rough, but progress always hurts, right? And that's exactly... Okay, so I'm liking this. I feel good about it. And let's take the same paint and see if we can soften this edge. And hopefully that will work out well. But I had the whole move above my on my mind, probably since the summer. So now I just feel so relieved that it's behind me. So that is good. And notice I start out like maybe 2 inches away, and then as I come closer and get that fine line, I go up to like a half an inch. So I start further away and go closer, and that's how I control my line from big to thin. Almost like a calligrapher, right? That's how they do it, you know? And I'm just softening that edge because if it's too hard, it won't work. And I'm going to put some detail in her beautiful eyes. There we go. Wow, honey, thank you so much for the housewarming gift. I appreciate that. $20 super chat. Thank you for your time and your friendship. I really appreciate you. It really helps out. I mean, it's so great to start the month of December this way. So I really appreciate that. That is just so amazing. And, you know, for taking time out of your Wednesday, I know you're a very busy person. So I'm just so honored that you take time out of your Wednesday to hang out with me and to support what we're doing. So thank you for being part of the community. So I really appreciate you, honey. And John Diekman, all the way from Wisconsin, how are you today? Oh, thank you for the birthday wish, my friend. Yes, tomorrow I'm going to be 28 in my mind. 28. No, not 28 in real life, but it will. I don't feel older, if that makes sense. I don't feel my age. But then again, I've always been immature. But thank you so much for the birthday wish, my friend. I really appreciate that. And so now it's just kind of, I'm going to lower my air pressure because it is pretty thin. And I want to get some detail. So by lowering your air pressure, you're able to get a little bit darker because you can get closer. Remember with the inverse square law, the closer you are, the more intense your spray is going to be. But to achieve that, you need to lower your air pressure, and that's really important. JC says, nice, Tim, 28, never looked better. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Boy, if I had my knowledge at 28 that I have now, oh my God. I know everyone says that, but I would surely be dangerous in the art world at 28. All that energy you have at 28. And Mr. Payne says, happy birthday. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate that so much. And if you ever feel you're not getting the spray you want, just make sure you kind of blow it out. And if there's anything in there, it'll come right out. Thank you so much. Happy birthday from Mr. Steve Leahy and Mr. Roy Johnson. Roy says, every day you wake up is a birthday. Hey, that is so true. Every day above ground's a good day. That is so true. Mike McClung says, we're never old, just things around us are newer. That is so true, especially to people, right? And I just want to get some more detail in her beautiful eyes. There we go. And let's see. Right underneath her chin. Just get a little hard edge right there. I think that would be good. Steve says, I'm 28 too, just folded twice. uh, you're young at heart. Me too. And that's the secret, you know? We get to paint, we get to play with airbrushes for money. So that's not bad, right, Steve? Hey Ryan, all the way from Canada, how's it going? He says, can't stay long tonight, just wanted to soak up some talent through the interweb. Oh man, I'm so glad you're here. Always welcome. Mr. Dwayne Marshall, how are you, sir? San Luis de Obispo, go Mustangs, how are you? It's great to see you. Ryan says, looks amazing. I appreciate that more than you know. Thank you. So now it's all about just kind of tidying things up, you know? And I do have, I'm not totally prepared, so I don't have my scrap paper that I usually do. But I did find this, which is really helpful, so that's good. And let's see what else we have. Any good surprises here? Ooh, I do see something here that is of interest. Let's see. Okay, so we can use the back of this. And let's see if I can use this as... Okay, that's good. So we do have two good things. We have the freehand shield and the gray paper to check out, make sure everything is working well. And so that's exciting. And let's see here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a paintbrush. And I'm going to see if I can find a good paintbrush. I'm going to do some of the fine lines in her hair. Let's see. Oh, I do have this right here. So let's see how this works. And let's see. Just looking for, I guess I could use this for now. And let's just do some dry brushing. Okay, this will work. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. And we want to do some stray hairs. And again, we want to make sure that it's not too wet, right? Because we're doing dry brush. Just some stray hairs. And it's funny because the whole painting comes down to these little details. Wow, Mr. Mike, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support and your friendship. Really means the world to me, sir. And I'm so glad you're part of this community. And I'm really loving the artwork you're doing, sir. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate you, Mike. All the way from Maryland. And are you still on vacation? I was so happy to hear that you were on vacation. So cool, Mike. Thank you. Thank you so much for your friendship, sir. It really helps out in so many ways, especially now with this crazy move. Uh, you know, it was amazing. I mean, we can do more than we think we can. And it was like so much I did on my own. Not that I'd ever want to do that again, but next time I hope that I have money saved so I can have movers do it all. It would far be worth the money, I would say. JC says, family gathers as I sit with kids because the grown-up table is all about aches and pains. With kids, it's all about when I get older, I'll be able to. Yes, and the conversation with the kids is much healthier. It's so true because they're looking towards the future, right? And that's why it's important to stay young at heart. And so true, JC. Because I really feel that, if you look at a 17-year-old, right, the whole world is their oyster. They can go to college, they could go to trade school, they can do whatever they want. But I think we all should do that, I mean, life is life, right? So if you have that opportunity, it's not just at one age, it's any age. When there's a will, there's a way. We'll find out how to get there. And Michael says he's back at work now. He got to pay the government its taxes. Yes, definitely. That is so true, sir. And I'm taking that same black magenta with the burnt umber and burnt sienna, and I'm just doing some detail here and there, bringing everything together. And I'm using the same paint that I used to do her hair with the airbrush. So same paint, and let's work darkening. So right now, remember, everything is kind of clouded over, and so now we're just going to bring in some detail. So I'm going to be bringing in some colored pencil and show you how I incorporate colored pencil into the end of the painting. And my opinion is, whatever works to make it look better, that's what it's okay to do. I mean, it's up to you if you want to do that. Some people like working just in airbrush, and that's cool. I'm not one of them. I'll use whatever it takes to make it look like my aim. Whatever my aim is. My goal, my end goal of the painting. So that's what's really crucial. And there isn't only one way to do anything. I mean, especially with airbrush, whatever you feel most comfortable with, I think. I think that's most important. And I'm just going to do some of the hairs on her scalp here. To every job is a tool. There's a tool for it. And I think the brush has some really great applications, which is fantastic. And also the colored pencils is really going to be great too. So that I love. And you see how we just kind of bring in more strength to the darks. And now I'm going to work in on her lips with this same color. There's a little bit of glare from the lights. Let's see if I can move the light a little bit so we get less glare. So one of the great things about, working, on a theme like this, there's so much symbolic references to it. And artists have been using the myth of Persephone as a symbolic reference to a lot of things, of rebirth, of life after death. I mean, so many different things. And it could mean different things to different people at different times. So, of course, she ate the forbidden pomegranate fruit, and she was living in paradise, but as she did that, then she was destined to live 6 months out of every year in the underworld with Pluto. I believe that's the god Pluto, the god of war. And so it's very interesting. And let's see. And so we had 17 concurrent viewers today. I just want to thank everyone for hanging out with me on this Wednesday, this cold Wednesday evening here in New Jersey. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And so you see now I'm going in with the darks of the fold, right? And pretty soon, if I can locate my colored pencils, we're going to work with them. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Now, of course, if you're a custom painter, if you're working on a gas tank or something, you wouldn't be able to use colored pencils for obvious reasons. But if you're doing an illustration like me, it's fair game. And Michael says he's hoping that I finish the 2 paintings this Saturday. Wow, that's a tall order. How far are they along, sir? Do you feel they're about 80% done? I'm going to work on her eyelashes a little bit. How I work on the eyelashes, let me zoom in and show you. I have a very specific way of whether I'm airbrushing or painting. I'll show you. So what I like to do is first do the little triangle and then a little dagger out from that. And you probably can't see it with the glare, but hopefully. So you do a little dot and then this dagger. One of the things you want to make sure they're not equidistant or the same size. Otherwise, they're going to look fake or false. And that's not good. And same thing here. Do the dot and then dagger down. And I think that's, to me, that's probably the best way, because it's the eyelashes are always thicker at the bottom and then they taper up. So that's important to get that. And so her eyelashes go out, but make sure not equidistant. So stagger it. Make 2 that are closer and 1 that's further away, you know? And Michael says he has the background and a little bit of the cars. Wow. Okay, that sounds like you can finish that in a weekend. I think so. And her eyelashes come out to right about here. So when you're doing it, make sure you see exactly where the eyelashes on the bottom and the top stop. And that's going to help you get that likeness. Likeness is just getting everything in proportion in the right spot. And that doesn't happen until the end. So you're not really worried about likeness until the end, right? And then we'll zoom in to the other side. And we'll see. On the shadow side, you don't see a lot of eyelashes because it's, you know, there's not much detail on the shadow side, right? So I got rid of excess moisture. And now, and again, it's important to get the base first and then dagger out. And it's hard to see with the glare, so I do apologize. Go, and it's a little darker, longer eyebrows. There we go. Okay, so let's zoom out and see how they look. So you see her eyes are looking a little better, I think. Really getting there to get the emotion in her face. And that's what I'm really interested in, you know. I will be right back, guys. I have to use the little boy's room, plus I'm going to clean my airbrush. So I'll be right back. I'll not clean my paintbrush and use the bathroom. thanks everybody for waiting. I appreciate it. So let me see, did I lose anybody? Let's see. So far so good. Thank you so much for waiting with me. Now, what I'm going to do is, let's see. So I definitely need the colored pencils. I am confident that I know where they are. I'll be right back. See if I can get them. I'm very hopeful I have them. So I'm going to do something that you probably haven't seen before. I'm going to add pastel to this. And it's a little bit different, but we don't have the colored pencils, and the show must go on. So we'll see how pastels work. Okay, let's see. Now, what I want to do is, let's see. I want to work on the dark right underneath her chin. So I'm going to pick a dark brown color, like right here, and I'm just going to even this out. And it works very well. Now, one of the things is that I'm not planning on clear coating it, so I can get away with it. And every painting has its own life, and so this will have something that is new and experimental, right? There's only one way to see if it'll work, is to try it. And we learn much more when things go south than when they go correct, when they go perfect. So I'm all for learning. And let's see. So we're using the colored pencils, the pastel pencils by Createx, and also Pit Pastel, those two brands. Let's see. We have some dark colors here. I'm going to work on her lips here. Now I'm not doing too much, just enhancing, which I normally would do with colored pencils, but now I'm going to be doing this. Hey Colette, how are you? Great to see you. How's everything? I'm so glad you're here. Now I'm still going a little bit later with the pastel pencils, of course. With the airbrush some more. And we do have these over here, and we have the white. So what I wanted to do was to use the white pastel here for her bottom of her lips here, bottom lip, the highlights. And it's a great opportunity to go ahead and see how the pastel reacts. Now, when I work in India ink, I use white pastel as well. So let's see how this works. And like I said, this isn't a custom painting. So custom painting, as you know, as Mr. Dwayne knows, there's different rules. And Mike says, I think when you turn the pictures sideways, you see the pencil lines. I'm not. Now, what's really great about this technique is that you don't see any pencil lines. And that's the great thing about, you know, how I work with India ink as an underpainting, because the India ink won't trap those pencil lines. So what I'm able to do is do the underpainting in black and white in India ink, and then from there I'm able to go ahead and erase the pencil lines. So that's, you know, really cool. And Ryan says no blue shift with white pastel. So very true. Not at all, which is really great. I'm going to look and see if I still have my clean stumps. And this is really going to be a game changer. Watch this, guys. With this, I can really assimilate the white pastel. And it's really smooth, which is really great. And of course I could use a knead eraser to lift up if I need to. And it gives you a lot of freedom, and in the end no one's going to care. They're just going to care how it looks. And you can see how we're really starting to get oh, Colette says she looks amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right over here we have this highlight. So with the white pastel, I can build the light and build the highlight, and I'll show you. So I go ahead right there, and then I kind of blend that in. See how it's nice and soft edge, and now I can come in and build up that light. Think of a highlight as snow on a peak, you know, a mountain peak, where it's most snow on the top, and then it's less and less as you go down. And right here over the superorbital eminence. And, oh, Mr. Dwayne says the main reason he doesn't use pastel pencils or any other stuff is he needs to be able to, the same caliber of artwork on the surface of the canvas to motorcycle. I could see that, definitely. And it's just not your way of working, which is cool, you know, and that's great, you know. We all have our own approaches and everything like that. This is more ad-lib. I have never did a Createx painting and used pastel, so this is a first. And Mr. Mike says, I was not sure if the same as a pastel pretzel. Pastel pretzel, that's a very good idea. Actual edible pretzels shaped like a pastel pencil. Okay, and let's see. We're going to go over here. So the white pastel is very similar to how I treat it when I'm working in India ink. So there really isn't much of a difference. Now I've been working in pastels for many, many years, so I can manipulate this stuff a lot easier than many because of the experience that I have. I know what pastel's going to do. I just don't know how it's going to look next to the actual painting of the airbrush. But I don't think it's losing a beat, if that makes sense. So where I wanted to maintain a different value, I'm just going to put less pressure, right? Less pressure is going to make a big difference. So the pastel is really, really working. So right now I want to soften her nasolabial fold here. And I'm just going to soften this right here. And you'll see how this kind of creates more emotion and naturalization of her. You know, she just looks more classical. And there's a little more light here going up her mandible. And just want to make sure I'm seeing that light. There we go. And it seems to be working out, and it's something you should try. I think you'll enjoy it. Kind of opens up the last couple of moments of your painting, and I think that's pretty cool. And so far so good. Again, we want to bring this kind of light here. So in retrospect, I think I should have waited to put in my highlights with the pastel or colored pencil. It just looks better. Just a little more natural. And I can actually rub that in. And if you rub it in, you maintain the colors that are underneath. So I want to maintain that pink. So watch this. I'm going to put that a little bit of pastel, but I'm going to rub it in with a little bit of pressure. And when I do that, I maintain the colors that I originally put down, which is great. So right here, it's a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to hit this right there and right here on the edge. And then I'm going to rub that in. And it's great because it creates that kind of shininess of her nose, which is great. Same thing right here. I'm going to do something different. It's a little more yellow than what I have it, you know, the glabella. I have it a little more yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with this kind of yellow ochre color, and I'm going to put that in ever so lightly just to shift that color. Well, let me put a little bit more in. That was a little tentative. You don't want to be tentative. You can be careful, but not tentative. And the 1 second rule is always in effect. And then we're going to rub that in. And when we rub it in, we are getting that kind of glow of the skin tones, which is important. Okay. And hey, Nick, how's it going? Great to see you. How are you? Never too late. Always on time. That's the important. You're here. That's what's important. So I'm so glad you made it, Nick. How's life treating you? And Nick, where are you from again? I keep forgetting, but one of these days I'm going to know exactly. New York, I think. Is it New York? Are you from the New York area? Ryan says, time to take care of his chores. Looks amazing. Tim, check it out later. Thank you so much, Ryan. Great to see you. Minnesota, I heard you guys had your first dusting of snow the other day. I think it was yesterday, right? Or the day before yesterday you had your first dusting. Is that true by you? If you're in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area? So great to see you, Nick, as always. I appreciate you. And we're just going to make sure that we lighten things up. And let's move on to her neck quite quickly here. And so we have a lot more light coming here. And you see how we can really start to define her anatomy. And this can't happen till the end. Now the only reason I'm doing this is because I can't find my colored pencils and I don't have everything set up for the airbrushes, so this is sort of an ad lib, but I think it's really working out. What do you guys think? And oh, 20 minutes north of Minneapolis. Cool. So right in here we have some light, and this is right where her trapezius is, right here. And we're just going to rub this in. There we go. So things are moving really fast now. So we have this sort of halftone over here. So remember, the lighter the pressure when you apply the pastel and more pressure when you actually rub it in creates a different look. So you see how we have the tracheal area. It's a lot more dark and a little more transparent. Honey says, looking good. Thank you so much. Yeah, the land of Kent Lynn, that is true. So, yes, that's one very talented artist over there. And you too, Nick. So, Minnesota is a really great place for talented painters. And let's see. I am going to take a swig of this big jug of water. Let's see. You don't know how thirsty you are until you start drinking. Okay, let's put this back. Okay. So Michael says, Steve, he got his zero brush today. Now he's waiting on the 000 brush he ordered and also the brush that I'm sending you. So that's, oh, you're talking about the Winsor & Newton. Yeah, that's a great brush. You're going to love that. And if Mr. Leahy is any indication, that is really, you're really going to do some incredible stuff with it. That's for sure. And let's see. Okay, and so I want to stay where I feel it's important. So the highlight on the nose, I want to make it a little stronger. And let's work on the, now the lights of her eyes are not white, but they're kind of a bluish. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to very lightly put in the lights of her eyes. And I'm going to add just a little bit of a blue-gray. And then we'll blend that together. There we go. And let's see, a little bit of that blue-gray color. It's right here. I'm just going to add that. Just going to dust it over. And then once I dust this over, I can just blend it just a little bit. And again, I don't have all of my supplies, but that's the thing, you know, it keeps you on your toes because you never know, you might be stuck without supplies, and this really, because you don't, every painting is its own entity, you know. Colette, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Happy birthday. Happy 28th birthday. Thank you, Colette. I appreciate that so much. That is such a great help. I just want to say thank you for your friendship and your support. It means a lot, and it just helps out so very much, like immensely. And I just want to say thank you for the birthday wishes, and thank you so much for being such a good friend. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to kind of darken this. And so just keeping scouring around. Now, of course, the portrait, her face is the most important. So remember that a lot of times the adjacent shape will describe the shape more than the shape itself. So if we scroll down and we want to show off the dark between the zygomatic bone and the masseter, then the shape next to it, that's what's really going to kind of define it. So we're going to come in here. And then we'll come down here like that, kind of define that shape a little bit more. And then right here on the earlobe, we'll kind of bring the earlobe a little bit further forward. And then right here like this. Great. And over here, you see how this is much too defined, the difference. So I'm going to kind of zoom this up, bring this light up here. There we go. And this is way too strong, so I could weaken this up a little bit, like here. And then just come down. And this right here is a little too much color. So we need to calm that down just a little bit. Now, when I use white pastel, I'm able to pull up. I don't know if I have my sandpaper block. I do. So what I'm going to do is use this part of here. I'm just going to pull. Whoop, let me zoom out. So you see I have this here. I'm going to pull up some of the pastel. And I'm going to use the stump as a type of paintbrush, right? And let's see. Where else can we apply this? Right here. And right here as well. And you see, as you start working and putting in these details, her likeness finally starts to come together. And that's exciting when that happens, is when you really start seeing the likeness. And that's really great. So Colette and I are working in oils in the mentorship program, and she is just knocking it out of the park. Really incredible. Really so cool how she's doing in that class. Now let's go ahead and see if we can use the stump to kind of put some lights into the dark of her upper lip. Now let's say you went ahead and put too much in there. You know, me working in pastels forever, I could just go ahead and pull back that pastel. So the way that I use the India ink in the paper, I can actually go ahead and do that here as well. Wow, Mr. Willie, how are you? Great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? Willie has been part of the community from the very beginning. Such a great friend to the channel. I'm so glad to see you, and that is wonderful. Colette says, thank you, Tim. Love working in oils. You're very good at it. And Willie says, just wanted to come by and say happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. I hope to see you again soon. And so tell me, how's the airbrushing going? Have you been able to airbrush? So one of the things that is pretty cool is 2 weeks ago I got to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and I'm going to go again because I'm actually living even closer to New York City right now. So I think either this weekend I'm going to make a trip, and I'm excited. Every time I go to the Met, I learn something about painting and drawing. The best art school in the world is your local museum. Of course, museum that houses the old masters' work. Oh, Mr. Leahy says he needs to duck out, but it was great hanging with you guys. Great to see you, Mr. Steve. I hope you have a great rest of the week. I'm going to try and make your show tomorrow. Definitely tomorrow on Facebook, I believe at 1 o'clock. Is that correct? 1 o'clock, Steve? On YouTube, your live stream on Thursdays. Oh, Willie says he's doing well. Haven't been painting. Your new job is keeping you too busy. Oh, you got to do what you have to do, right? So that's important. So I respect that, definitely. So what's really great is the Wicked Paint does accept the pastel. And I love that a lot. You see how we can really, it kind of works amazing. And I'm sure you can probably put the Createx on top of this as well. So if you, just like when I work with the India ink, if you just rub it really hard, you get this wonderful effect of translucency. And it really does kind of lighten the colors, but the colors don't lose their hue, which is great. So it's a great tinting way. Mr. Bobby Silver, how are you? Great to see you, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. Happy Wednesday. And so that is so cool. So cool to see you, Bobby. And how's your artwork going? Now, Bobby, where are you from? I always love to know the area that the members of the community are from. It's always great to see just how many places are here in the live stream, which is wonderful. I'm looking at the computer right now, 33 degrees outside. That is cold. And so when you have the white pastel, just like when I do the airbrush and India ink, you can really go and get some of the translucency in the so-called shadows, right? And I can just kind of tap away the pastel. So with this, it's super forgiving. You're able to really get in there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pastel and I'm going to hit the highlight, really make it pop. See that? I can really make that highlight on her eyes pop like that, which is so cool. And the same here, I could kind of put the highlights there. Willie, have a great night. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I can't wait to see you again. Don't work too hard, my friend. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful Christmas. That's for sure. All these little things are so important. And then you can just kind of rub that in. And then you can say, wow, that's too much, but look how easy. You can just tap that away. And just tap enough of it away to have the value that you're looking for, which is great. So this is the first time you saw Createx and Pastel working together. At least that's the first time I've seen it. I'm sure it's been done before. Okay, so now let's see if we could work on her hair a little bit. Let's see how this works. Now it works when I do the airbrush and India ink. And you see how we can get this beautiful transition. The important thing is always get the direction of the hair, right? That's very important. Get the direction down. And Michael says, Tim, I do like how that shines up the skin. Yeah, thank you so much. It really is a lot of fun. It's very different. And you can see how it really kind of helps out the hair too. What do they say? That necessity is the mother of invention. So since most of my stuff is not unpacked, this was definitely a different way of attacking the same problem. So with the white pastel, notice I'm able to put the negative space in her hair there, and then again over here. Now I can get like a light brown. Let's see how this works. Oh yeah, look at that. So with this light brown, I can come in. Let's show you how that's working. And so if we come here, we can see how we can kind of bring in this light here. Right over here. Now this is kind of a light gray, so we can actually come in with this light gray, or even like a little bit of a darker gray. So when you're painting hair, I know it's not going to seem like a gray in a young woman's hair will look right, but it actually is gray. So we're just going to put it in. We're going to paint what we see, paint what we know, and kind of walk that tightrope. So there's a lot of gray here. Now none of this would be available if we didn't work so hard with the airbrush in the first 80% of the painting. And then here we come back in with this light brown. So there are advantages and disadvantages of using mixed medium, right? Mixed media. And then come in with this gray here. And then we're going to very lightly kind of glaze as well. Okay, so we have some grays in here. And let's see. So we'll kind of blend them a little bit. I don't think that worked too much. So now remember, you can always come in with your kneaded eraser, and the pastel is so malleable, right? It'll do exactly what you want it to do, which is great. And there's a lot of gray in this brown hair. And that's just the way the light is hitting it. And you can even use your hand to blend it if you want. And that keeps it from looking too pastel-y, right? If that's a word. And let's see. Willie says he's got to get back to sleep. Okay, I understand that. And Michael says, Tim, I do like how that shines. Okay, so I am caught up with all of the comments, so that's good. So interesting how the gray really plays a big part here. and it really creates more of not just a voided area, but more information. And maybe we can come in with this brown color. There we go. And I'm happy with it thus far. Now we do have some stray hairs coming up. Let's see if it'll work with the pastel. It's not quite taking it. Let's see if we use a darker color. No, so we're going to use the paintbrush. Let's see how this goes. See if I can find a very thin paintbrush. It's so funny, you know, when you move, you know you have your stuff, but you just don't know where it is. Let me see if I have a thin brush here. I'm going to get the brush that I used before. Okay, let's see. Now, what I need to do is some of these stray hairs. So I do have my original mixture that I was airbrushing with. And let's see if I can just pull some of these hairs down like that. Just some of these stray hairs. Just make sure it's not the same thickness throughout and get rid of the excess water. And you see how I make it thicker here and then thinner there, and that helps create interest. And Bobby says, I wish I could paint like this. I need your lessons. Yes, it would be such an honor to have a class with you. So you let me know and I will teach you all you need to know to paint like this, sir. And Mr. Cody, how's it going? Great to see you. Have a great night. It's always, God bless you. And I always enjoy your videos. So great that you're here. And take care, Cody. Have a great rest of the evening. Don't work too hard, right? Thank you, JC. JC says I'm a great teacher. Well, you're a great student and a great artist there, Mr. JC. And the main thing, Bobby, is really sticking with it, right? Because it's very daunting at times, right? You get to a point where, you know, it seems like we're not growing, but that's when we got to make sure that we stick with it. Stick with the painting. You know, trust in that process. Mr. Dwayne with the super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. And appreciate all your information and knowledge on Wicked and custom painting. I mean, it's such an honor to have you in the classes, and all your support and friendship really goes a long way and keeps me going. Really, you guys, really, guys and girls, keep me going. It's so easy to give up, but to keep going, I can't do it without yous. That's for sure. And that's definitely the truth. I can't do it without yous. I'm going to try and soften this up here, and I may come in with the airbrush to soften this up. Probably the airbrush is going to be the way to go. Let's see. So, just going to put this aside. And let's see if we come in here and see how this goes. See how I soften this edge of the hair? It's very important. Otherwise, it's just too hard-edged. And then we're going to come in and hit some of these really beautiful negative spaces here. Dwayne says, was busy, but fully here now. That's so cool. Thank you, sir. And so it's so great to see everybody here tonight. You guys and girls are all so amazing. I can't believe it. I continued the streak of the live streams. I didn't think that I was going to have a live stream. I didn't have any of my studio up as of this morning. So, and this is my third night in the new place, which is great. And JC says to Bobby, I'll make him an artist. Oh, you know, and I know you guys all have it in you, you know. My job is to really amplify your talent, you know. And if you have that drive, then we could do anything together. Mr. Air Todd, how are you? Great to see you. Michael says, Bobby, I did not have any artist skills either my first 2 years. Now it's looking good. You're doing really good, Michael. I love what you're doing. Really fantastic. Mr. Todd, all the way from San Diego. How are you? So very cool to see you, Mr. Todd. And a lot of times at this stage, it's a lot about edge work. So I went over with colored pencils, and now I can go over, pastel pencils, and I can go over that with the Createx. Now, isn't that amazing that you can do that they work together? I've always said that airbrush and pastel are sister arts, sister mediums, that they really work well together. And this is so true. I can go over it with pastel, and pastel over the airbrush, over Createx, which is really great. Right here, I just want to make it a little bit darker. And remember, we can use the paintbrush for some of these little hairs. The airbrush. That works well too. And over here, we have sort of a glow here, which is really great. The hair is so translucent that it creates a glow around her, where it's sort of like an aura. Now remember, I was talking about how pastel, we can actually carve out some of the negative shapes. And let's see if we can. Right here, just going to grab this, and there's a little bit of a negative shape right here. Just pull that out. Now if it's too light, you can always come in with a darker color, like right here, so it's not too light. And let's see if we can assimilate those edges with this original mixture. And Dwayne says, I believe tenacity has a lot to do with being a good artist. Mr. Dwayne says, just don't give up and practice, practice, practice. So true. It's all about, even with the business of art and staying an artist, even though a lot of times financially you're like, what am I doing to myself? if you stay with it through the process of elimination, things will start happening, which is really great. And Michael says, Air Todd, rub your hands on your shoulder. At least one of them will feel better. Oh, so Air Todd says, let's see, is he not feeling well? Oh man, his hand is bugging him. Oh wow, I hope that feels better, sir. So sorry you're not feeling well, sir. And there we go, just hitting the dark underneath. And now we have some stray hairs over here. So we can go back to the airbrush. So we have, you can see airbrush, pastel. See how we're running the full gamut? And remember, you don't want it to be equidistant or the same size. That would be the kiss of death. Get rid of some of the excess water. And now let's see if we can come in. Here we go. And of course it's shiny, so you're not going to see it until it dries because of glare. And there's some really beautiful wispy hairs right parallel to her eyes. And let's see if this will work. Beautiful wispy hairs. Let me see if I can zoom in and we don't get glare. So look at that hair. Look at these hairs and how we can achieve that. Remember, the hair will be darker in one area, then it'll disappear. Then it'll reappear, disappear, and then reappear. That's what hair does. It's, you know, when it's a lot of hair, it's very opaque. When the hair is very thin, it's translucent. Light goes through it. So whatever you're painting, try and know what is the nature of that. Mr. Cheese Grits, how's it going? Great to see you, Patrick. Honey says, time to call it a night. Have a happy birthday, Tim. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, honey. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you have a great night and stay warm, okay? And we'll just bring this over. So the new internet here is fantastic. So far, so good. Verizon has the best internet out here in Jersey. I think they do. And so cool to see you there, Mr. Patrick. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, tomorrow's my birthday, 29. Time flies. Let's see. So I love going in and kind of getting this kind of translucent hair. The edges of the hair really is a big part. The edges. And I'm still going to finish this off camera, but, you know, after tonight. But I really think we're getting really far. And so let's see how that's looking. So you can see that she's looking like she's more part of the environment, right? And so very cool. So all throughout the painting, you're going to feel like, I'm not getting the likeness, I'm not getting the likeness. Don't fret, because the likeness does not come, the true likeness cannot come until the end, until all the places are in place. So unless you can't do that in the beginning. So that's why I say don't worry about the likeness. It'll happen if we're doing everything else correctly. JC says, let's see, did JC say, oh, no, I don't think JC is leaving yet. Oh, yeah, so JC says it's looking great, Tim. Good night, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me, JC. Always a pleasure. And I look forward to talking to you during the week. And Michael says Tim will be able to paint like this with the airbrush gun. Exactly. So, you know what? The real good thing about, having a good airbrush is that it's predictable, right? And that's going to help you a lot. And practice, learning each airbrush. Each airbrush is like people are going to have its personality, and it's going to do, certain things perfect, and some airbrushes will do other things perfect. But I really love the Extreme Patriot Arrow because it seems to be the most versatile, which I love. Great detail in the .30 needle nozzle combination. So enables us to get thick like with Wicked paint, but also beautiful thin and detailed application like the Airbrush India inks, which I will be sending you a full set. So that's good. Nothing extra, and that is free. So I'm almost done doing a full huge batch of the Airbrush India inks, and I'll be sending them out to a lot of people. The move has really kicked me in the butt, so I do apologize for any delays, guys. And this part of her hair, right over here, we're going to kind of make sure that the hair doesn't look like a piece of plastic, that it has to have some indications that it is hair, such as stray hairs coming out, that sort of thing. So now we have this kind of brown color. Let's see, can we maybe put a little indication of some darks here and there? And Bobby says, when does your next class start? Well, the great thing about the mentorship program, Bobby, is that it works around your schedule. So it's a one-on-one, which is really great. And we work on a project together, and I work around your schedule and mine, and we can definitely find something. So it's really great for those of us who have busy schedules and families and, and you have things to do. I always work with you guys. So, and that's one of the reasons why I love doing the mentorship program, because it helps make possible what normally wouldn't be when people are so busy. So that's what it's really geared for. Michael says, I like how the needle is going to stick out. Yes, it's great for tip dry, and it also creates more of a thinner aerodynamic, so that's where you get that really tight detail. So we're going to get that out to you. And I do apologize, but I'm going to email you as soon as it goes out. And let's see. Now when it's wet, it's gonna look a little different in each area, but once it dries, it's all going to look much more uniform. A little thicker on the eyebrows, on the eyelashes on the end, and the crease. Bring this over. There we go. And I'm going fast but deliberate at this point, right? Going fast but being very mindful of what I'm doing. And moving around, as you see, which is very important. Keep things moving around. So one of the things about Persephone is that she has great strength. So she's like, think of her in like the worst neighborhood and like 3 o'clock in the morning in a New York City subway, you know, a beautiful woman like this just kind of hanging out. She's not worried because she could basically floor 100 people in the snap of a finger. So that's one of the things that I wanted to have, that sign of contrast of somebody, you know, in the subway where normally they should be totally petrified, but she is so powerful. And I love that, that, women need to be depicted as powerful because I feel they are. I feel women are very powerful. And so that's one of the. Now, I've been painting Persephone forever, literally. And so I love that, I can go very deep into a theme and always find something different and exciting each time I paint her. Okay. So there are some stray hairs on the top. So let's zoom in and I'll show you how I'm going to handle it. Now first I'm going to try with the paintbrush and see how this goes. Now it does look fine as it is, right? It looks good, but we want to take it to the next level, but we can't get to the next level until the end. So you see how we're going to do some stray hairs. We'll go this way, sort of like a dagger stroke. And these are the real little things, the real, how do you say, the coup de grace. I don't know if that makes sense, but, the icing on the cake. And it looks good from far away. And like I said, as this dries, see, I'm going to throw some air on it and see if that makes it dry and it changes. So let me put some air on here. And let me see if it's the light or is it actually a different technique. Yeah, it's just something that is going to look good once everything dries. And like I said, it's always a trial and error, right? We'll just see how it works, if we like it, if we're going to do it again. And let's go ahead and kind of blend this out. Now, you see how that was too much? I can just take the kneaded eraser and I could just kind of calm that down. Now, let's say we're not happy with it. It looks too... Let's see if we just put a little bit of white pastel on that. We can calm that down and kind of assimilate the texture. If we want to. Okay, So let's zoom out and see how it's looking. Okay, so now we can come back in with the airbrush really quickly. I'm just going to take one of these with the 4011 and I'm going to clean out this paintbrush. Let's see how that goes, if that works. So a little 4011, just kind of get rid of any paint that's in the ferrule. Maybe a little bit more. Clean that off. And then wipe it really good because I want to use this. It's a really good, it's by Rosemary Brushes. If you haven't used Rosemary Brushes, I really recommend them. They're a great company. Most of your oil painters know about them. They're really, really high level. So we're doing good. Let's go back to our, now whenever you go ahead and use your airbrush that you haven't for a little bit, just go ahead and make sure you're getting good operation. And I just want to assimilate the different kind of textures from the paintbrush to the airbrush to the pastel, kind of even it out a little bit. And you can definitely do that. The airbrush is a great technique for kind of going over. A little bit of tip dry. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and work with the Omni 1000 and I'm going to use my orange and white mixture and see if I could come in and just make a little bit of change here and there to kind of bring everything together. Okay, now I really love the orange and white mixture, as you know. That's white with orange, of course. And so we're just going to move our young lady here, and so she's coming out pretty good. I'm happy with her. And let's see, I'll go here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, which white do I have? Okay, Wicked White, straight Wicked White, and I want to cover the bottom. So about 1/8 of an inch, right? And we'll just come over here and cover that. And there's a method to my madness. So about 1/8 of an inch, and I have that. And then I'm going to immediately 4011 it because I want that white to really start getting to the consistency I want. So that's going to have that nice chemical reaction with the 4011. And then I'm going to use this, and I'm going to mix this really well. Now the 2 drops of orange that I'm going to put in there is really not going to change anything. So I want to mix this first and get this going. And oh, and Michael says now he finds himself straining the paint even more. That's great news because that's going to pay dividends for you and just going to solve a lot of problems that normally you would have, but you circumvent them by being a little more fastidious. I think that's the word. A little more conscientious and kind of dealing with the problem before the problem deals with us, right? So now what I'm going to do is I know that my strainers are around here somewhere, and I'll be right back. So we're all going to talk about the live stream where I couldn't find half of my products, but that's okay. The show must go on. So we're not going to strain, but straining is always important. So now I'm going to go ahead and do 2 drops. Oh yeah, so it's always important to, make sure. I'm going to put 3 drops in here because it's a little more of the mixture. But if we kind of, maybe you would get away with it, right? But why take that chance and strain it first? I will find that's where I'll trip over it as soon as the live stream is over. That's how it usually works. Okay, so now I have this, and we're going to see how it's just kind of the end, right? And just see how this white mixture with the orange is going to help us. And remember, I'm never really filling up the paint, the airbrush. You can always add more. Let me see. Now again, these have been in transit in boxes, the airbrushes, so we just want to make sure. I think, there we go. Just need a little TLC, that's all. Everything and everybody needs a little TLC to work correctly. All right, so now I have this, and so let's see, where can we, okay, let's make sure that it's not spraying without pulling back. Okay, so it seems good. And what's this going to do is this will kind of even out the value. I'm going to be, so watch how, see how the face looks broken up? So now if I come in with this orange and white mixture, I can really smooth out her face and kind of make things look a little more even and less blotchy. And see how that works, which I really like. And let's see, Michael says, and this white and orange mixture is my favorite also. Yeah, it really solves a lot of problems. See, right here, it's a little darker than I want it to be. So with this orange and white mixture, I can be about 5 inches away. And I could keep my color, but I can just soften it just a little bit. Like right here, I just want to soften this side a little bit, and right here on her jaw. Kind of helps get rid of a little bit of the underspray that happened. And I can hit this real blast of light that is hitting this part of her shirt. See that? I can really hit that blast of light. And it's a great way to finish it out, right? Using this orange and white mixture. So you could use white pastel. You can use white airbrush. I mean white pastel. You can use white colored pencil. You can use white with the airbrush. Now white with the paintbrush, but then you could use the white and orange mixture with the airbrush. You need that orange in there with the airbrush because you will get blue shift and it will ruin a lot of your hard work. So always remember my formula. It works really well. See how I can hit that light right there? A little powerful, so I might calm that down in just a little bit. Let's see, just kind of bring this over here. Now that's a little powerful, so I could calm that down a little bit later. But that's a little bit powerful. I don't like it when it's too, but that's where you can come in with another color and kind of go over it. So the white is almost, orange and white mixture is almost like a clean slate. And then you can come back in, but when you come back in, the colors are much more assimilated to one another, which is really fantastic. And so that is really cool. So next week going to be a surprise. I'm looking forward to it. New painting. So, and we're still going to stick with the Amazing Wicked paint. Because I want to really get to the point where, you know, that Wicked is, you know, really to show all the great things that Wicked can do. Yes, you have to work a little bit more, you have to work a little more conscientiously with Wicked than if you were working with, let's say, the illustration. But, you know, the fine art feel that you get with this is second to none. So the hard work is worth it. So now I can come in and kind of work on the beautiful texture of her blouse. Now you can see I'm really moving around a lot, right? That's very important to move around, especially at the end. So right here, it's a little brighter on the ceiling. So I'm just going to come here and hit this. And you see how I could make the ceiling brighter and then have it blend by increasing my distance. And now you really get a feeling of her being in this tunnel. Same thing over here. We can really hit that light and then have it blend into the center of the ceiling, like so. So this is like the finishing touches. So here's interesting. So rather than just little Aryan coming in with pastel, there's a person back here, and you can just barely see their skin tone. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a little skin tone right there. Maybe just a little bit right there. So a little bit of skin tone. Let's see, we may need a softer pastel for that area. Let's see. Let's try this color. Oh, yeah, just a little bit, just a little hint here and there. That's all you do need. And let's see, go back with our orange and white mixture. So we are actually finishing this up. And so we're getting to the point where we're almost ready to bid this painting adieu. Let's see. Where is my mouse? Wow, already getting some really nice birthday messages. I'm going to try and keep up with them to answer everyone. It's not easy. Let's see. Okay. So it is 11:23. We have 7 minutes. So on the floor, like in the reference, it's nice and bright. And I just want to accentuate that. And you notice that there's leading lines, how the lines are all meeting right around where I want you to be. So that's a photography technique. It's called leading lines, which is great for creating interesting composition. And of course, the blurriness in the background is called bokeh, which is a Japanese word. That little person back there. And if anyone's interested in purchasing this painting, it's available. Just instant message me. Now I will finish it, of course. So when they purchase it, if they decide, they will get, you know, even more detail and just me finishing it up. So look at the background, just going to kind of do a little more detail. Now with a bouquet background, it's very, you know, the bouquet, it's detailed, but everything is very blurry. And let's see, Dwayne says, looking excellent. I appreciate that, sir, and happy birthday. Thank you for the birthday wish, Mr. Dwayne. Thanks for the super chat. Brad says she really looks great, Tim. Thanks for another great live stream. Have a great night. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you, Brad. And Michael says it looks awesome. And Bobby saying good night to Brad. And thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate that. He says, happy birthday. Make 28 look good. Thank you, my friend. And thank you so much, Air Todd. Happy birthday. Thank you so much, Patrick. He says, great feed. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat, everyone. Colette and Michael. I really appreciate you. You guys are all great. So we had a super chat from Dwayne. Thank you. From Colette. Thank you. And we have Michael McGlung. Thank you. And Honey. Thank you. And Brad. Thank you. So you guys are so great. I really am so happy to hang out with you on this Wednesday. We have another 4 minutes to go. So what can we do in 4 minutes? You never know. Let's see. I think what I'm seeing as far as the highlight in her lip there is a little crooked. So let's see if we can kind of straighten this out. There we go. And it's a little too bright over here. I'm going to come in with the pastel stump here. Kind of chill this out. And now I can come in with the kneaded eraser and even out, you know, whatever I want. So I do like the fact that at the end we can come in with all different mediums. So, and it does work out. There are no rules in art. There just aren't. The only rule is to make great paintings. The best paintings that you can. Do your best, and that's great art. That's how I feel. If you do your best, it'll be great. And once again, we'll just look for that stump. And we'll just kind of even that out. And then we can come back here, kind of put in some negative shapes in there. And okay, so not too bad. I'm liking it. And every work has, what's interesting is every painting's going to have its challenge. But how you solve that is after you have that challenge, you make the next painting circumventing whatever was giving you trouble in the last painting. And that really works as far as making your artwork be something that is constantly getting better, constantly improving, because every painting you learn from it, and then you try and apply what you learned onto your next painting. So working on these, the philtrum a little bit, and also some of the light in the philtrum. There we go. And you know what? It's all about making your painting as beautiful as you can, but still saying something important. Let's hit some of this negative space right here. We have a beautiful negative space right there. All these different things go a long way in creating a believable image. And you know what? You never know when your image... Brad says, happy birthday. Thank you so much. And wow, Air Todd, yours is next Wednesday. Well, we definitely got to celebrate it next Wednesday, sir. So that's important. So we're at 11:29. I'm always trying to give you guys the full 2 hours. I don't always succeed, but I always try. And it really was for me to get that kind of inquisitive look about her. And I really think that I did achieve it. It wasn't easy, but I'm really happy with it thus far. And we'll zoom into her face and see how we did. Into her eyes. Okay, so we're getting there. So right here, it's a little bit of a hard edge. So I'm going to use the white pastel to kind of soften that edge. And same thing, this is a little too strong. So with the pastel, I can calm that down. See how I can calm that down and make it much more palatable? And kind of kill anything that is too high in saturation. With the white pastel, I can knock that back. I can also do that with the airbrush with the white and orange mixture. I can do that and kind of move this around. There we go. And then we zoom out and we can see how she's looking. So far so good. We'll continue, and I'm going to post it on Facebook and Instagram, the finishing product. So thank you guys. It's 11:31. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Thank you for your support and your love. I love you guys and girls. You are just so great, and I hope you have a great Thursday. And I hope to see you next week. Take care of yourselves. And don't work so hard. Bobby, take care of yourself. Always a pleasure. So glad you can make it tonight. And stay warm, guys. Unless you live in Florida and enjoy the weather. Or in San Diego, as Mr. Todd lives. Bye, guys.